niggas, they can get so bitter. Sure you want to enter, you can turn back. You don't know where I've been.
Let's bring us both on. Welcome to Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. We're doing the mailbag show a day early. I now have health commitments on Tuesday of my own doing. I'm going to be walking up a big mountain every Wednesday morning, so I won't be able to do a show. So we're going to do it on Mondays, which actually makes more sense given it's the first day of the week. Thunder Dan, welcome. Thank you for stepping in, filling the void, although honestly it's probably going to be you most weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to do it. We got to get to the finish line here. It's a big couple of weeks coming up for all of our listeners here, and I'm sure you're in a situation too where we got, some leagues starting playoffs this week. I know we're both in one where it starts this week, so hope people are ready to go. Yeah,
I know the industry pickup leagues are into their playoffs because I'm not in the playoffs in that league. But yeah, I know. Yeah, another league, as you said, that we're in. One of my leagues finished before the All-Star break. Another one we're in the final this week. So I'm in the final of that one somehow. So yeah, it is the pointy end of the season, and we already have some questions, which is good. Let's start with Musa Diabate. Now that his suspension is over, what is his outlook? Is he a must roster or a priority add? So what are we doing? I think before the suspension, he was viewed largely as a must roster player. He seemed to have that starting role down ahead of Ryan Kalkbrenner. He was playing well. Are we still of that opinion? Because I think Kalkbrenner has actually played quite well as the fill-in.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think? The only wrinkle here is that I believe he got hurt in this third quarter yesterday and left the game early. I don't know if you saw. I only know that because I had his points prop bet, and he didn't hit it because he only played like 15 minutes. But that is a situation to monitor if like the severity of Kalkbrenner's was it. I don't know if it was an ankle. I'm sure you're looking at it right now.
Yeah, ankle. Yep.
So I think Musa was probably going to take his job back anyways, but. I mean, if Kalkbrenner's hurt at all, I mean, they're awfully thin after that. PJ Hall is their other center. They don't have a whole lot there. So I think Musa walks back into 25 to 28 minutes, probably, which is what we want.
So I guess what we're saying here is, yes, if he was dropped, probably go and add him because we think he'll be the starter. And obviously if Kalkbrenner's out, he's going to be playing an even larger role. And remember, this wasn't an injury, so he's fully healthy, ready to go. There's no issue of a ramp up here. I guess maybe conditioning-wise, but other than that, he should be good to go. Jalen Smith. So he left yesterday's game with a calf issue, which is what he's been dealing with for the last few weeks. Are we recommending to drop him? Or who are we recommending to drop between him and Shaden Sharp? Playoffs start next week. Might still be out another week based on Splitter's comments. So let's start with Jalen Smith because we may get other questions regarding him
I'm sure
and his
will.
injury yesterday. Do we think it was a re-aggravation or just the Bulls sort of pulling the pin a little bit and saying, hey, we're just going to be cautious here? Or I mean, is he going to miss more time? Because it is a little bit concerning.
It is. I was just making the case for him as a hold or a pick back up because I feel like he got dumped in some leagues after he missed that time leading up to the break. And then this happens. He supposedly gets hurt again. I guess I would if you have him, I mean, we all agree, and I think most people in the industry agree, he is a very good fantasy asset to have based on his variety of stats. The threes and the blocks combinations hard to get, good percentages, like all the things that we want in 9-cat. Because of that, I would hold just a little bit until we see what kind of timeline there is. But if he's going to miss like anything more than a week or 2 weeks, it's time. You just have to cut and move on. It's unfortunate because I think, we viewed him as a silly season winner back at the deadline, but he could easily just be a guy you cut and move on from if it's going to linger.
Yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. I have him in probably 2 or 3 leagues, and I'm going to hold until we possibly get some clarification on whether this is a multi-game absence or whether he's back in the next game, because that's the risk here. You don't want to drop him preemptively and then next game he's cleared to play and he plays 28 minutes and puts up a double-double with 3 blocks, and you've wasted it there. So I would hold until we get some clarity. In terms of Shaden Sharp, he's missed a few weeks. How long's he been out? It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
And so I guess the question is then, is he a drop? I have him in only one league. I got him in an IR spot because we have 4 IR spots, so I'm able to just hold him. So he's missed the last 6 games, which obviously with the All-Star break, that puts us at about 3 weeks. Is he someone that you'd be holding if you didn't have an IR spot to put him in? Is he worth holding, or is he going to come back and be a little bit limited? What are we doing with him?
The thing about him with 9-cat is that he's not a great 9-cat player to begin with being kind of scoring dependent and not doing a lot in the ancillary stats, peripheral stats. And then the question is, like you mentioned, if he does come back, now that Drew Holiday is back and Denny's healthy and they're pretty much healthy everywhere else now, is he coming back to a 25-minute role? It's not coming back to where he had some huge games where he was playing 30-some minutes when Drew was hurt and, at times really boosted his numbers. If he comes back and is just playing like 25 minutes and he's a volume-based scorer, is he really someone that you need to prioritize? I would say just wait and see, but if he's still out and if you can replace his points elsewhere, he's just not like a must-hold guy for me, no.
Yeah, and I think I've got his numbers up here. He's outside the top 150 for the year, and that's in 30 minutes a game. So basically, as you said, he is points and threes only. He's okay in steals as well. He can sort of chip away a few steals there, but certainly a situation, I think, if you're heading towards the playoffs, which ZB252 is, you might have to make that tough call. If you had to pick between the two of them, I'd probably hold Jalen Smith because I think he does a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah, again, this is the time of year when you've got to make some tough decisions. Shining Knight, that time of the week again. How long are we holding on to Keyshawn George, especially with all the Wizards and the tanking that they're doing in the 4-punt build? He's a tough one. He played yesterday, which was a positive, but he didn't play a lot, and he's basically playing 19 minutes a game now. That for the last 2 weeks. The numbers are still fine, but in how much can a player do in 19 minutes? So I actually think we are at a point where we may have to consider moving on, despite the fact that he's had a really good year. Do you disagree with that?
No, I was just answering some questions about this from some other readers, and I feel like everyone's held on as long as they can, and now it's like we've seen enough of a sample from the Washington guys if they're just going to do this now. So you just have to, when someone tells you what they're going to do, you have to believe them. Like Washington has made it very clear that they're just going to do this 20 minutes a night thing for everybody, and that's just going to be death to everyone. Maybe you could play Vukovic. Other than that, like I don't know who else you can really play with that much playing time.
No, that's right. And as you said, I think they've seen enough from Keyshawn George to know who they've got, where he fits, so they don't need to see any more. So, I think we might be at a point where in a standard league, slightly deeper leagues, maybe you could hold on, but standard leagues and in that 4-punt build that you're in, Shining Knight, again, you have him for steals and blocks. He may get you one of each per game, but you can probably stream that in as well quite comfortably at the moment with all of the silly season stuff that's happening. All right, who are we dropping between these two? Dante DiVincenzo or DeAndre Ayton? 9-cat. Just need any categories. Okay.
Oh, man. Let me just jump in. I'll say we talked about Dante last week on the show, and he's still doing enough with steals and not hurting you really anywhere. Whereas it's like Ayton, like what is he really doing for you? He's not really scoring, he's not really rebounding, he's not really doing much of anything. I didn't see what he did the other night for the Lakers, but I know that he's basically just been now that they're finally healthy, he's basically been almost totally de-emphasized from their offense. Like he's not really a factor out there much at all.
No, I mean he's had some injuries, so that sort of slowed him down a little bit when you look at ranks and things like that. But even for the last month, he's 137th ranked player. The last 2 weeks, the 282nd ranked player. And I know ranks aren't everything, but the numbers don't lie for DeAndre Ayton. In his last game, he had 4 points with 7 rebounds, a steal and a block, 13 and 7 with a block before that. He doesn't get to the free throw line. He doesn't get assists. He doesn't hit threes. Generally doesn't get steals. He's not a high blocks player. So I think you'd have to, the only reason you would be holding him for me is the rebounds, because he's generally a decent sort of average to above average rebounder. The points are very hit or miss, but as you said, with everyone back now, they just don't need him to score. He's 4th, if not 5th option on offense. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I would, if I had to pick between these two, I think I'd hold Dante DiVincenzo because of the steals upside there.
Yeah.
All right, playoffs start next week. Jalen Williams is injured. Yes, he is. Is he a drop? I'm firmly in the top 2 in standings.
Does that mean he gets a bye? I wish we knew. Does that mean he gets a bye? Because if you have a bye, you could probably hold a little longer. But if I'm first round, even if it's the first round and you think you can win without him, that's a risky proposition, man. I would probably cut him if you absolutely need the games next week, because it's pretty. We've talked about this before. The Thunder, I just watched them yesterday, beat my Cavs without SGA or Williams, and they shot 1,000% from 3, but still. They're loaded. They're deep. They got McCain playing well. They got all these guys. Casey Wallace is playing great. Like, there's no rush. There's absolutely no rush. If anything, they're going to give those guys more time than they need than less. So who knows when we see Jalen Williams? It might be sometime.
Yeah, so I guess, if you have the bye, hold. You might as well. Because by the end of next week, it might be that he's upgraded to questionable. But like you said, the Thunder have no reason to rush these guys back, and this is for Jalen Williams. He's been dealing with injuries all season, and they need him for the playoffs. They don't care about the regular season, or at least not the majority. They'd obviously want him back with a few games to spare. But if your playoffs actually start next week. Obviously, look at the matchup, look at the categories, see if you think you can win, but you can't risk it. So if you want to keep advancing, then you may have to drop him. Is Scoot a must roster with no minutes restriction and Denny banged up, Sharp out for a week or two? Does it help his outlook? It definitely helps his outlook, not having Denny Avdia and not having Shaden Sharp. But what do we think about Scoot? He's been back for a few games now. The minutes restriction is gone.
He did have 11 and 6 last game. He played 30 minutes, which is nice to see. I heard Josh Lloyd talking about this the other day, though. I mean, we were kind of kidding ourselves if we thought he was going to shoot 55%, though, right? Like he's back to shooting 28% 2 games ago, 29% last game. So that field goal percentage is a real killer. If you don't care about field goal percentage and you were like punt, if you're in a clear punt, field goal percent, turnovers type of build, then he's fine. But if you're someone that values efficiency, I think we're seeing, that was a bit of a mirage. That early efficiency for him was more fluky than not. Yeah.
So must roster in specific situations. I think he's probably one of those guys that is going to be rostered in almost every league, but it doesn't mean it has to be by your team. So have a look at if he fits. Like you said, if field goal percentage is not an issue, then that makes him a lot more appealing than if you are concerned about field goal percentage. Well, we've done Jalen Smith. In case you missed it, Michael, Jalen Smith a drop? Not yet. I would say I would say hold. Malik Monk, though, where Sacramento as a whole.
Good Lord.
What do we think about Malik Monk? And I guess if we want to expand this conversation into Sacramento in general, can we trust, or who can we trust? I know we can trust certain players, so who can we trust? And is Monk one of those?
I wish I knew. I know we had both been telling everyone that Devin Carter was going to be a good pickup, and then he played 5 minutes the other night, and it was like, what? And then you see that they signed, who they signed? They signed the former Piston out of the G League.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. He was killing the G League all season. So they're bringing in another guard. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
He was
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
lottery pick years ago, but they brought him in, and what does that mean? Does that mean they're going to play him and they're going to eventually bench Westy and all these guys? Like, I can't. The only guy I really have my kind of fortunes pinned to would be Nate Clifford. I think they are going to play Nate Clifford down the stretch, and outside of that, and Renault, they have to. They got no other bigs. Outside of those two, I think we're all guessing.
Yeah, I think so. Carter is also questionable at the moment with an injury. So, yeah, it's really hard to know. I do think Monk, even if he's playing 25 minutes, he has a chance at putting up value because he can score in bunches. He can give you some assists. But we just don't know. I've got his game log here. He missed a few games, 28 minutes in their last game, 20 minutes. And the tough thing is Sacramento are going to get blown out a lot. So what does that mean? Like, does that mean they're limiting guys down the stretch? Does that give them an opportunity to actually play more minutes? So is he a must-add? No, I don't think so. If you want to take a chance on him, you certainly could, but I wouldn't be tied to him in any way. What's this one? Okay. Should I accept any offers of Hero or Con or Drew for a Kongwu? So moving a Kongwu, would you look at Drew Holiday, Con Knipple, or Tyler Hero? Which of these guys has better upside rest of season and into the playoffs?
Boy, that's a tough question. It looks like it's 12-team, 9-cat.
I'm going to say not Drew.
Yeah, it was going to be my pick too. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Hero looks great the first two games back. Khan has been awesome down the stretch, and I know some of it was Charlotte being shorthanded, but he's showing no signs of slowing down. Drew, like we said, the minutes he's not playing the minutes he was early in the season. Scoot being back is certainly part of that, and he's just kind of at this stage of his career, he is what he is. He's not like looking to score; he's looking to pass more, he's fine. If you have Drew, ride him out, but like. I'm not actively looking to add him or anything, but
this is, I think if you're moving off of Kongwu and all the three players you've listed here are guards. So I guess you're really looking at changing it up in terms of stat set. I'd probably go Hero, Con, Drew, but I wouldn't move a Kongwu for Drew. The other two I would consider. I'd go Hero slightly over Con, but keeping in mind he's had multiple injuries this season. Health-wise, I'd probably trust Con a little more. Matt Carmody, what's up, guys? Santos or GG Jackson?
Both guys have been great, but Santos is better 9-cat. I mean, people don't realize he's been like borderline top 50 the last 3 weeks. Really good.
Yep, I would go Santos. I do think they're probably both must-roster players at the moment, but if I had to pick one, I think Santos, his role is a bit more secure. The Warriors' direction is a little more clear. With Memphis, it's hard to trust anyone. I do think GG Jackson is one of the very few players we can trust on that Memphis team at the moment, but that's not to say in 2 weeks they change direction and he's playing 12 minutes off the bench or something.
True.
We just don't know.
GG just doesn't quite do as much either. He's really points, rebounds, whereas Santos is like steals, blocks, threes. He's been doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I actually managed to pick him up in the league that I'm in the final this week. Our final starts today. I actually picked up Santos yesterday. So
nice.
Pretty happy about that. Okay, so a must roster question. A bunch of fringy guards on taking teams. Clifford, Carter, Traore, Dioman. Now that we have a bit of visibility, do we think any of them are must roster?
Boy,
I'll go Clifford.
Yep.
Carter, as you said a week ago, I would have said yes for Carter. Now I'm not so sure. And Traore and Dioman, I think they're both going to start rest of season. Who would you prefer there? I think I might prefer Traore.
He's been better. He's been clearly better. If you look at the games, I mean, just a little bit more balance too. Like he's doing a little bit of everything. Where as Jemin's been like a little more scoring and not quite as many assists. Traore would be my pick. I would rank him Clifford, Traore, Jemin, and then Carter.
Yep, I think that looks good. Thoughts on Day'Ron Sharpe and Vukcevic rest of season? I mean, they're both relying on starters being out to be must roster players. We saw that with Day'Ron Sharpe when Claxton was out. He was really good. Claxton came back yesterday, and Sharpe was okay, but certainly not must roster. And Vukcevic is the same. He's been pretty good without Alex Sarr. In saying that, he is injured at the moment.
He missed last night's game.
Yeah, so I don't think either of them, where we sit right now, are must roster players. I don't think you have to.
No.
2 weeks' time, potentially. They may end up ruling Sarr out for the season. Claxton hurt his ankle, so nothing too serious, but who's to say they don't pull him from the rotation at some point? So at the moment, I don't think you have to roster either of those.
No. Nope.
Kristaps Porzingis, our friend, he is out again with illness. No words, no sort of update on whether this is related to the POTS. Have you seen anything? I've seen it's an illness, but they haven't mentioned what illness it is. The fact that he isn't on the road trip or he's not with the team, I think that's what I read. Yusuf Nurkic is out for the season. There you go.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, which we probably saw coming anyway.
Filipowski time.
Yep. That's why we sat through all that crap that he put up for 2 months for this period of the season.
Yep.
So is Porzingis a drop? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, especially in a points league. His real appeal is 9-cat. If you're in a points league and he's playing, what did he play, 15 minutes his first game back?
Yeah.
We talked earlier, there's really no way he's going to play more than 20, best case scenario, like 22, 24 minutes. And he's sick again and he's hurt. And I don't know. I think you have to move on at this point. Like we're just never going to get much from him this year.
No. I've got him in one league and we have 10 IR spots. So I'm holding him in that league. But
wow.
Yeah, other than that, I wouldn't be holding him. Daniel Gafford, is he a drop?
I think so. Bagley continues to outplay me. I played him again last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he just can't. He's getting, 20, 22 minutes a night, and he's bare bones. He can't crack double-double in that. Like, I don't know. I prefer Bagley. I know Bagley is really limited to points, rebounds, and you're not getting the same diversity with blocks that you get with Gafford, but I'll take the guy that's more productive in his minutes.
Yep. I think, Gafford, one league I want to say I held him in, but I was punting points, threes, assists, and steals. So all I needed from Gafford was rebounds and blocks, really, and field goal percentage. And you get that on most nights, but he just does nothing else, as you said. And Cooper Flagg is out at the moment. Irving's not coming back. It's just trending towards Gafford eventually, I think, being done for the season. Whether he needs to get additional surgery on the ankle and just to get him right for next season, I don't know. But yeah, I'd be okay dropping him. I don't think you're going to drop him and then all of a sudden he's playing 30 minutes a night.
No.
We touched on this one very early in the show. Kalkbrenner and Diabate, will Kalk retain the starting center job? I think we were both of the opinion that the answer is no. Diabate will come back in and start. And Kalkbrenner is dealing with an injury himself at the moment. So, I think it's Diabate's. My league sadly plays way too long. Playoff final is April 5th. Franz was dropped. Do we think he can ramp up in time to be useful? I'll say yes in terms of by April 5th, but you're going to need him. Playoffs usually go for 3 or 4 weeks. So you're going to need him from mid-March, which is 2-3 weeks away. And I would say no.
Yeah. I would not hold out hope for him. Like you said, they're going to ramp him up slowly. And when are they even going to start? When's he even going to start limited minutes? Like in 2 weeks at best case scenario. So I don't think you have much hope with Franz, no.
How are we feeling about Giddey rest of season? He was much better in his most recent game. Let's have a look. The first game back was pretty rough. Okay, so no, sorry, not his most recent game. The game before that was the good one. I forgot they played yesterday. Look, encouraging that he played on the second night of a back-to-back. So I think if we want to look at a positive from last night, it's not necessarily the production, but the fact that he actually played is a positive. Just in terms of the Bulls want to get him out there. We know that the Bulls are trying to win games for whatever reason. So I think that bodes well for his at least short-term productivity, availability, that sort of thing. That could change. He's still a pretty clear must-roster player to me, though.
Yeah, you have to hold on. I would add that yesterday they had Simons and Ivy both out, and I think Ivy's out for a few weeks. So, I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of other guards, so maybe they changed their plan, or they would have rested him, but they made him play. I don't particularly know, but you just have to go game by game, week by week. At some point, they could shut him down, but as long as he's playing, you have to throw him out there because he can. You saw what he did 2 nights ago against a pretty good Detroit team. 27 points. Like, he can do that any given night. So you just kind of have to, bite your tongue and get through it.
Micah Potter, is he a silly season pickup right now? I think so. The production's a little bit up and down, but he seems to be playing over Jay Huff. He isn't starting necessarily, but playing more minutes. He's had some decent games. Points, threes. He is a good 3-point shooter for a center. He'll get a block every now and then. So, yeah, look, I think temper expectations a little bit. He's not coming in and sort of giving you top 50 value or anything. But as a guy that's going to play most nights and play 26 to 28 minutes, I think you probably can pick him up for sure.
Yeah. Yesterday was his worst game in like 2 weeks. He had 2 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. But you mentioned the minutes before that. It was 26 minutes or more in 5 straight. And Huff's been playing more like low 20s. So yeah, I'm fine with picking him up. He does a little bit of just enough of everything.
Denny Avdia, his back keeps flaring up. It does. I think this is going to be a rest of season thing. Is he cooked in March, though? So I guess that leans more into maybe the bigger question of what are the Blazers doing? Are they trying to win? Because we know that Jeremy Grant usually goes on holiday around this time of year. This is when we don't see him. He is currently out on the floor, but are we going to see Denny get the Jeremy Grant treatment where they end up just pulling the pin on him and letting him rest this back and get some treatment looking ahead to next season?
It's
certainly, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would be concerned if I was an owner or a manager who had him on my team, because he tried to play. Right, he played 1 minute last night and came out.
Yep.
Like, he actually tried to play, and that's the most concern. It's not like he's. I don't know if I'm going to come back. Like, he wants to come. I think he wants to play. Knowing Denny, like, he really does want to play, and he was an all-star this year. He had all that excitement around him, and Blazers aren't a terrible team. They've been pretty decent this year, so it's not like they want to shut him down or he wants to be shut down. I think he is physically struggling to be able to play, and that definitely would concern me. Yeah.
So I wouldn't drop him. If you have him, don't drop him because he's too good, I think, to drop. And as you said, he wants to play, but I feel like the Blazers are probably going to limit him here. He's played if we count last night, he's played 4 games in the last 5, but I won't really count last night because he played 1 minute, as you said. So I wouldn't drop him, throw him in an IR spot. But if he comes back and you get 2 or 3 games of him putting up sort of top 60 value, I would absolutely try to move off him if you can, if depending on when your trade deadline is. But I wouldn't just cold drop him because, much like Josh Giddey, his production is too strong across the board to just throw him out there for another team to pick up. When we don't really have any clarity yet. Okay, Guy Santos, Pajemski, or Ace Bailey, 12-team 9-cat. Which two? Well, let's rank these.
I'll go right in the same order they're listed in.
Okay. Yeah, I would have.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I would have Guy first. I don't know whether I'd flip Ace and Pajemski. Just because I don't know. I'm not sure whether Ace Bailey has slightly more upside. We just maybe that's just because we haven't seen him as much, and I'm hopeful that there's more upside. Pajemski has been hit or miss this season.
Yeah, I'm not a Pajemski by any means. We've talked about him before, but he's been pretty. I mean, maybe we're biased, but yesterday he went 18, 15, and 9. That's I don't know that Ace has that in his skill. You know, I mean, he's probably a better scorer and all this, but I mean, Pajemski, as far as being a stat stuffer, like he can, if he's getting minutes, he's going to pile up some stats, even though he's not all that great of a basketball player, you know.
So it's a bit of a general question here from D Smooth. Do we have any strategies preparing for the fantasy playoffs? Anything from you? I mean, I punt. People know that I punt, and so I'm already leaning into specific builds. But that's what I would say. If you're not punting, this is probably the time of the season when you want to start looking at what your strengths and weaknesses are and offload some dead weight. So someone like a Shaden Sharp, for example, if you're not a good team in points, don't hold him. Move on. Absolutely. Situation like that. Anything for you, like as you head into playoffs, do you make any tweaks?
I would say getting healthy is obviously important as much as possible. So you might want to dump some guys that aren't going to be back by the time your playoffs start. You can look at playoff schedules. I had a really good article by my buddy Adam Koffler there that highlighted all the playoff schedules. Just looking at 2 game weeks. Do you have any of those? You know, can you get out from under any real bad playoff weeks? Can you maximize your games played? And then if you this is a real specific strategy, but if you already can see who your opponent is going to be next week, if you start next week and you're already like locked into a seed, like start looking at that other team and like what are some 50-50 categories that I can win? Like I'm already, you know, really good in points and steals or something, but like can I grab some more threes? Am I gonna, what's my opponent? Where are a couple more categories I can beat them? And so you can even start, if you know who you're gonna play, start scouting them out, seeing where you can potentially beat them and see where you can get to 5. All you need is 5 categories, right? You got to find that 5th category. So I would even do that if you obviously have the advantage of knowing who you're going to play.
Yeah, that's right. Which you should. I think most apps will at least let you know sort of in advance. It's not, you're not going to sort of find out when the games start. You should know at least the night before or the morning of, depending where you live. But yeah, have a look at your opponent. Have a look at when you faced them previously. You can go back and look at the matchup, see what the score was. Have obviously context. Have a look at who was injured. And yeah, you might be fantastic at blocks, and you'll go, "Oh, I'm going to win blocks. I'm awesome at blocks." But have a look at where he is. He might be the second team in blocks, so you may actually have to stream some blocks. That sort of thing. The link to the show, or not the link, the description of the show and all of my shows on YouTube, there's actually an app that a guy has built, Fantasy Wizard, I think his name is. I've been using it. It's actually a handy app. It actually tells you basically what we're talking about now. You can add a glimpse. You can have a look at where you rank, where your opponent ranks, where the projected, so based on what you've been doing all season, which categories are you projected to win this week? Now, obviously, it doesn't take into account injuries and minutes played and that sort of thing. So you need to modify it a bit, but it is handy especially for the playoffs. And for me, handy when you're in so many leagues. I know most people aren't in 12 leagues. All right, Trey Murphy, is he getting shut down? Shoulder. He had a shoulder injury through the All-Star break. He is out again. I'm fair.
Didn't practice.
Okay, didn't practice. Yeah,
didn't practice today, which isn't great. But I've been faced with this question a bunch of times. I don't think they're going to shut him down, but then again, it's a real weird situation because they have Dejounte Murray is probable for tomorrow now. So if it would make sense that if they're going to bring Murray back and they still want to play Fears some, they started playing Jordan Poole again randomly. Like what?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I don't think they really know what they're doing. So I hope for my own sake, because I have Trey Murphy on some teams, that he isn't shut down. And I don't see why they would shut him down other than just if this injury is more serious than we think, or if they just want to protect him as an asset for next season, whether he's a trade asset or a building block, they just want to keep him healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, I do think the Pelicans are trying to win because we're seeing them play their guys' minutes. They're bringing Dejounte back. I mean, the fact that he is coming back indicates to me that they're not actively trying to lose games here. So that does give me a little bit of confidence that Murphy will come back at some point. But they're definitely not going to push him in here and make him play through what might be a long-term injury. So if there is any risk, they will keep him on the sideline. So, yeah, I think, again, you probably have to hold him at the moment and just hope for the best. With Nurkic out for the season, are we adding anyone else in Utah, assuming that Filipowski is already rostered? Any names in Utah that you think benefit from this news at all? I will say that I would keep an eye on Oscar Tshiebwe because if Filipowski gets injured or they do decide to move Tshiebwe into a 25-minute role, he could get you double-digit rebounds quite easily. He's a very good rebounder. So I would keep an eye on him, but I'm not adding him. Anyone else for you?
No, he was the only other guy I was going to mention. Kevin Love has played 5 minutes the other night, on his last legs. He's not a guy we can look at, really. I mean, could they play Conchar some more minutes at a small ball four? I don't know. He's had 2 decent games in a row, but I don't think you're adding him either. I don't think there's really an ad.
No, I don't think so. All right, where were we up to? You mentioned Jordan Poole and the fact that he is, for whatever reason, back in the rotation. Are we picking him up? I'll say. Look, I'll say if you can afford to absorb a bit of risk, then why not? Because if he plays 26 minutes a night, we know he can get you 20-plus points. He can get some threes. He can get you some assists. But I'm not convinced at all that this is going to stick. And obviously now with Dejounte coming back, that's another body on the floor. So, I mean, do you see any situation where you have to grab Poole, or are you just sort of avoiding this altogether?
I'm avoiding it just because I hate field goal drags and sucks and things like that. But again, if everybody's context is different, if you're in a super deep format or you're in a points league or you're somewhere where Poole makes sense, and then go for it. But the fact that Dejounte's coming back too, I don't know how they're going to get everybody minutes between Dejounte, Poole, and Fears. And I know they're not taking Fears minutes away, right? He's their rookie. As they want to play him. At most, they're all capped. It's all capping all of them is what that's doing. But I don't think he's a must-add by any means. Just a dart throw.
Kobe White now plays for Charlotte, but hasn't actually played. Is he a drop? Been holding him, but need the streaming spot. Only have one. Franz in the IR spot now. So, what do we think about Kobe White? I'm going to say yes, because I do think that he's going to play the Colin Sexton role. He's better than Colin Sexton, but they just don't want to upset the apple cart here in Charlotte, I don't think. So they're not going to bring Kobe White in and start him or anything like that. He will just play backup. He's coming off a relatively long-term injury. So I think, in a roto, I guess your bench can be treated like an IR spot to some degree, depending on games cap restrictions and things like that. But generally speaking, I would say, yes, I'm okay with moving on from Kobe White.
I think so. I'm pulled up his numbers to look at it, and he's 199 on the season at nightcap.
Mm.
So it's not like he's been playing that great this year. 19
No.
points, but 4 rebounds, not even 5 assists, no steals. And if you take that and shrink that by what
Mm.
30% or something with his bench role, like you mentioned, it's basically Colin Sexton, which is not a must roster player anymore. So
yeah, he will have the odd game. Like, he'll come in. I'm sure if he comes back, assuming he does come back, I can almost guarantee he'll have a 30-point game off the bench for Charlotte,
sure,
because
sure,
he's capable of that. But he'll also have a lot of 12-point games with 3 assists. So
right.
overall, yeah, I don't think so. Similar question, Vooch, is he a drop with what he's been doing in Boston?
See, Vooch for me is a bit of a different situation. Let me get his stats up just so I don't say anything
Yeah,
out of turn.
them up as well.
It's nothing to write home about, certainly, but like his first 3 games were pretty decent. Looks like the last 2, 9-5, 9-8.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but Vooch's game is built for a 9-cat. Like he's perfectly fine. He's good field goal percentage, good free throw percentage, couple threes or something here and there. I don't think he's a drop by any means. I think you ride it out with him and see what you get from him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think I think yesterday's game it was a relatively comfortable win. Game before that, just a bad game. So yeah, I think I'd be holding him. Definitely. I mean, if you got Kobe White and Vooch, I would definitely hold Vooch over Kobe White.
For sure.
All right. We need to start getting towards the end here. So let's have a look. How was Pippen not suspended? Did you saw the incident with Pippen and was it Myron Gardner who got into the...
I didn't actually. I heard about it, but I did not see the actual video yet.
Yeah, so I think he didn't get suspended because the league looked at why he did what he did and probably went, well, yeah, that's probably warranted. So they got into a bit of a sort of a rebounding scuffle. There wasn't a lot to it. And I think it was Myron Gardner. Basically, they came down the other end. Pippen hit a 3, and then Myron Gardner hit him cheap. It was a cheap shot from behind, knocked him to the floor quite aggressively. The refs missed it. I don't know how they missed it because it happened right in front of a ref. And so Pippen got up, ran down the other end, pointed at Gardner, and just charged him and tackled him to the floor. There were no punches thrown. It was separate. They were separated pretty quickly. But I think the league probably looked at it and went, "Yeah, look, it was probably a bit over the top." But what Gardner did at the other end was pretty low as well. So, I didn't think there'd be a suspension incoming.
Can we segue that into like what are we doing? Because I'm getting questions about Pippen and questions about Ty Jerome. Like, what do you think? What are you doing with these guys? Because it's pretty clear that they want to like rest one of them every other night and play them no more than 20 or 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think Scottie Pippen's questionable. I did see him pop up on the injury report. Ty Jerome, I mean. So, yeah, he's questionable with an illness for their next game. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Ja Morant is still technically there. Whether he comes back, I don't know. But Walter Clayton is in the rotation now, playing meaningful minutes. So he's another guard that they probably want to get a bit of a look at. I don't know.
I'll say this. The other night, Pippen was out, Morant was out, and Jerome were all out. And I was like, okay, it's going to be Cam Spencer night. They didn't even start Cam Spencer. They brought him off the bench, and he played 20 minutes. Now, luckily, he had 10 points and 10 assists, so he had a nice night. But they started, and they didn't start Javon Small either. They started like Meshack or whatever. It's like Memphis is almost getting to the point where it's like approaching Washington territory with the minutes with these guys. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. People are trying to count on Ty Jerome for the playoffs. I'm like, if he sits 1 or 2 nights and plays 20 minutes in the other 2-3 games, I don't know if he's worth it. I don't know if Pippen's worth it. I don't know if any of these guys are really you guys you want to count on down the stretch.
I don't think so. I think this is a situation, as you said earlier, you need to look at the schedule, have a look at whether they have a back-to-back. Who are they playing? If they're playing Washington, if they're playing the Pacers, if they're playing Utah, expect these guys, if they play, to only play 18 to 20 minutes. So, yeah, it is, as you said, heading towards Washington kind of territory where it's just going to be hard to trust anyone. I mean, Ty Jerome, obviously, his per-minute production has been fantastic since coming back, but it's not sustainable. You can't put up top 50 value in 20 minutes a game. So
No.
There's likely to be a downtick or a downturn here in his production. So I find it pretty hard to trust any of them. And I actually don't think I have any of them other than Walter Clayton, who I've got in some dynasty leagues. Right, let's have a look. Okay, Lowry Markkanen. So would we drop Lowry? He's probable. So he's been out with an illness, pretty sure. Well, that's what they've said anyway.
Yeah.
But he's probable for today. Would I drop him? No, I wouldn't be dropping Lowry yet. Do we get to a point where he's a drop? Probably, but I don't think we're there. I don't think we're there yet. I'm holding.
No, you hold him, you ride it out as long as you can, and then when the day comes, you drop him. But I think you just have to wait for the last possible minute.
Traded. Okay, here's a trade question. I traded away Donovan Clingan for Emmanuel Quickly in a 14-team points league. A good or bad trade, or an okay trade?
In a points league, I kind of like it because Quickly has played well lately, and I always think of Clingan as more of a 9-cat guy because of his blocks and everything else. But Quickly's been pretty good lately. It was weird because they were talking about trading him at the deadline, and then afterwards he's come back and has been pretty good. So I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think a points league, that's probably a good move. Category league would be closer because Clingan has been really good this season, much better than I thought he would be. Thoughts on Middleton and Moody? Are they ads given their recent production? What's their outlook with Coop and Steph? Middleton has been playing minutes, which probably shouldn't surprise us given it's Dallas and it's Jason Kidd. He certainly makes some curious decisions. Do we think that he is, I mean, no Cooper Flag has helped, but do we think that Middleton is someone we have to roster now?
I was just looking at his line the other day and I thought, good Lord, it's like vintage Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
What's he going to do the next game? Is he going to play 15 minutes? Is he going to rest? I don't know. I have no clue with Middleton. I think Moody is a guy who and I don't know how you feel about Moody, but like he's probably more of a guy he's at least going to suit up every game. He may not have big games because it feels like he kind of trades off big games with Santos and with Pods and these other guys, but at least he's out there playing 30 minutes a night. I don't know that we're going to see Middleton play this much down the stretch, right?
No, I definitely trust Moody over Middleton here. I mean, if you want to take a chance on Middleton and just see, maybe he does continue to play 26, 27 minutes a night with Flag out. But then this follow-up question, which is from a question from someone else, but a Middleton question. In a 16-team league, yes, I probably would add Middleton, I think.
Yeah, I'm not kind of league, sure.
All right. Here's sort of a summary kind of a question. Do we consider the following guys, any of these guys, drops? We've talked about a few of these guys. Giddey, Keyshawn, Vukcevic, Morant, Garland. So I think we agreed Giddey is a no. Keyshawn is a sure. I'm not going to say you have to drop him, but you could drop him. Vukcevic, probably not, unless we get word that this injury is going to be multiple games. Then I think you could. Ja Morant, Darius Garland. Where are we on those guys?
I have a little more optimism for Garland just because I think that his new team wants to see him in action and see him play and traded for him versus Morant, who's on a team that is obviously tanking and has no motivation to bring him back. Between the two, I would rather keep Garland and dump Morant. But I think you can probably hold them both until your playoffs start. If Ja Morant's not back by the time you're in playoffs, then cut him.
Yep. All right, let's finish off on this one. Again, a general kind of playoff-related question. 14-team roto, no playoffs, okay, but just end of season. Should I start opening up at least 2 streaming spots massive behind? So I guess this is maybe a question, generally speaking, how many streaming spots do you think you should have in a 14-team league? And does that change towards the back end of the season?
Now, I guess a little bit of context would be like, how many weekly moves are you allowed in your league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think most leagues, the standard is 4 to 5. Would you agree that's usually around somewhere around there?
I think so. Yeah, some of mine are 3, and then but they're leagues where I have games caps as well,
Right.
so it's there's not as much advantage to streaming. But then I'm in leagues where there is no limit, and you can just continuously stream throughout the week. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say if you're at like a 5, I'm just going to use 5 as the benchmark. If you have 5 moves, you really only need like 2 spots, right? Like you're going to maybe churn that spot 2 or 3 times. If you're keeping 3 spots, I feel like that's kind of thinning out your roster a little bit more than you probably want to, even in a 14 league. I would say 2 is probably the ideal amount of streaming spots. 3 might be a lot.
Yeah, as you said, I think it does depend on the allowance that you have in terms of moves, but I would say, generally speaking, I like to think 2. 3 can get a bit much, but so let's go with 2 at least, and that'll do. I'll let you get out of here. You got things to do. I've actually got to go to work today. Where can people find your stuff? What's happening in your world?
Hey, head over to X. I'm at ThunderDanDFS. Yesterday we put out the new waiver wire pickups, so that's still pretty fresh. And we're going to be covering NBA all the way down to the final few weeks. Even for those people who unfortunately have to play all the way till April, we'll still be doing content for you guys. But for everyone else, I hope that your playoffs start soon, because it can only get uglier.
Yep. It's already pretty ugly. Thanks for jumping on, Dan. I'm going to get out of here as well. No show. Oh, let's fix that up. No show for a couple of days now. Obviously, this show we've recorded a little bit earlier, and this will be the sort of the way we do it moving forward. So we will be recording this on a Monday, which, as I said, makes sense, I think. What other shows have I got coming up? The Roto Wire show I'll be doing later in the week. I don't think I'm on with Josh this week, am I? I was on with Josh last week. I don't know. I lose track of time. Anyway, you can find it all over on Twitter at AdamKing91. And a reminder, I didn't do this at the top of the show. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up and a like. Drop your comments in as well. Download the audio versions. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm Adam King. This has been Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. We are done.
You don't know where I've been, what's going on inside, where the monsters like to come.